mates, if you're a new migrant in Australia, you can relate that settling in can be both exciting and very challenging. From dealing with where to get the most essential items or even dealing with the cost. In today's video, I'll be sharing some of my struggles and how I was able to get some of the essential items you need in every household. And also make sure you stick around to the end because I'm also going to be sharing some of the discounted stores where I found things cheaper compared to the big retail shops everyone talks about. Let's get right into this video. From time to time I'll be looking down, and that's because I have my notebook here, and what I basically did is I put up an Instagram question tag and asked people to share their experience. Especially most people who follow me are Nigerian/African migrants who follow me, to explain what are the things you've had difficulty getting when you go to Australia. To be honest, I for one started this channel. If you go to the very beginning of my channel, you understand the fact that I started this channel with a pain to help migrants. When we came in, our first struggle was where to get African food. In no time, we met with fellow Nigerians and they were able to tell us and show us where African stores were at, and that was good. But then again, we came with the challenge of where do we get vegetable, or something as simple as that was such a struggle. I remember the first vegetable oil I bought at the time. I got it from Howdy and it was horrible. I tried the ones at Coles and wasn't good as well. Eventually I realized that it might just be a me thing. I don't know if this is everybody's challenge, but I reached out to a lady then. Somebody had introduced me to this lady and I said, I think I've said this story on this channel before, and this lady was meant to come and take me out and she never showed up, but eventually we got a wing of it. And why am I saying this story? Is just to say something as little as that can cause a lot of setbacks, and then you start asking yourself, did I make the right decision? Because of course we're Africans and we love to eat. So if I'm not getting my food and getting things right, even at the right cost, or if they are too expensive, all of this can form some sort of setback in your settling journey in Australia. So what I've done is I've broken them into different segments. So when I did a question poll, a lot of people said different items, but I've put them in different items in such a way that I think we have the African food category of things you will get in an African store. We have the lunchbox ideas. A lot of mamas wants to know where do they get their lunchbox for their kids from, and also there are certain people who want to know discounted stores, and that will be coming at the end, so make sure you stick around. And yeah, all those good stuff. The very first segment I have is furniture. Of course, when you come in newly, the first thing you need to get a bed. In a separate video, I'll be addressing how to get your rental property. When we landed in Australia, we got our house the day we landed in Australia. I know the market space, like the rental market space, have changed a lot since 2019 till now. But then again, there are some of the tips that works for us that are still applicable today. But we'll address that in a separate video. But if you're about to get furniture and you've recently just landed in Australia, here are some of the stores I feel you can check out. Kogan is a good store. It is very cheap, but if you're after quality, I won't advise you go with Kogan. Another place you can check out is Amart. Amart store sells furniture, reasonably priced, and I think is a starting point for a new migrant trying to settle in. Another store you can check out is Fantastic Furniture. Fantastic Furniture is also an amazing store. Their things are cheaper. They even have some bundle package you can get from them in Fantastic Furniture. With some of the stores I've mentioned, always check out for when they are on sale or when they're running a promo. I think that's just a good time to buy your items, depending on when you come in. You know, towards the end of the year, there are a lot of sales. There's Black Friday, there's Boxing Day sale, there are a lot of sales. But during the year, you'll still find that some of the stores run different promo mid-year as well. Another store I want to mention is WFC, and I think this one is a very good one because basically what they do is they sell items that maybe a company have produced in mass. So what am I saying? You know, the Avinotab, like Avinotab is not something I would say you should buy except you came in with so much money. But when you're when you're now settled and you need to upgrade your furniture, check out Avinotab as well. But what WFC does is they sell items that maybe Avinotab has in excess and they sell it at very cheap and affordable price. When we were moving recently, we got a lot of our furniture from WFC and they were reasonably priced, and best believe I think some of them were even things we could afford when we came in newly, but we didn't know about it. So all of these stores are places you should check for your furnitures and few decor pieces if it's something you are after. IKEA is also, yeah, I think I forgot IKEA. IKEA is also another store you can check out. But when you're checking IKEA, in all of this, again, what I would say is always ensure to compare prices. Don't stick to one store. Take your time, sit at home online, compare these items in the different stores, read reviews before you make your final purchase. With that said, we'll move to the next section, which is kitchen items. Personally, for me, when we came in, the first place I went to get all the items, most of the items I needed in the kitchen was Kmart. I had Kmart very close to where we stayed at the time in Calamville, and what I just did is I went into Kmart full load and I bought as much as I could. In talking about kitchen items, this is also depending on your budget. Maya is also a good place you can check out for kitchen items depending on your budget. Like I said, I got my pots from Maya. I can't remember the price when we moved recently, not at the beginning, and that price is so pricey, but then again, it's a non-stick pot and you know the fragility of non-stick pots. So that pot at the moment is just a display pot, and then I got some other set of pots from Aldi. This set of pots, I love them so much, and they were cheap. Some of them $34, $35, and there's one of them I've been using for years. But the challenge with getting your kitchen items from Aldi is they only run special buys. They are not regular day-to-day products you will find in store. So you definitely have to be keeping track of what Aldi is bringing every week. So if it's something that interests you, I think is worth investing your time in some of Aldi special buys. Like Aldi is one of the best stores I love in Australia. So that's about kitchen items. And special mention of blender. So someone specifically asked this when I put it up on Instagram, and yeah, if you're not following me on Instagram, this is your cue. Please follow me on Instagram, and I'm also on TikTok. But anyways, back to blender. I did a video recently as well, I think on TikTok, where I posted my Ninja blender. Of course, that blender is amazing, but it is quite pricey for someone who is settling in. It is worth investing in, but this is not something you're looking into buying at the time, because I think this blender is either over $200 or almost $300 if it's not on sale. But if that is above your budget, a good starting point is always Kmart. For the first 3 years when I lived here, I bought my blender from Kmart and it did the job. But here is the hack of how it lasted me 3 years. I probably changed that blender about 3 times from Kmart. Anytime it goes bad, I pack it back in the box, I take it, so far it's still within the warranty period, and I was able to exchange this blender 3 times. So that's one hack that works for me. If it's something you're looking into, buy a good blender. Of course, the blender I bought from Kmart, I think in 2019 was about $59 or $89, and I went back to change it about 3 times. So as they upgraded the design and the product, I changed my blender with them as well on the same receipt from 2019. So that's a pro hack. Keep it in your left hand. Okay, with that said, let's get into food stuff. I think food stuff is one of the biggest challenges a lot of people face, and one question I got a lot. With food stuff, I will go section by section, and I'm going to be looking at my book a lot this time around. But every time someone have asked me, Dammie, what rice should I buy? I'll be a millionaire, because yeah, rice can be very difficult. I remember when we first came, I think we bought Uncle Ben's from Coles, because we knew Uncle Ben from Nigeria as well. But yeah, if you're looking for a Nigerian typical rice, what I think has worked for me, again, please, if you have differing opinion or something else that has worked, please feel free to share it in the comment section. Let's continue. I don't know it all. I'm still learning through this process. Best believe, like, I'm still asking people around where to get this cheaper. Even I feel like Angela is even giving more tips and where to find things cheaper, compared, like, thinking about it as she just came. So I'm still learning myself. So if there's anything you have, please share it in the comment section. And some of the places or location I'll be sharing is based on Brisbane, but I'll try to explain how you can also get them in other states in Australia. So now let's go back to rice. I usually buy my rice from Africa or Asian or Indian stores. So those are the 3 places you can buy your rice. I have never bought rice from Coles, I've not bought a good rice. Okay, let's put it that way. They sell rice in Coles and Woolies and Aldi, but I've not bought a good rice from any of the stores. So where I buy my rice mostly is an African store, an Asian store, and Indian store. But what are you looking for when you want to buy a rice? If you're looking for a rice close to what you have in Nigeria or in Africa, what you should be looking at is the golden basmati seller. Any rice with golden basmati seller, it will do the job. But then again, I think they differ on prices. They're different range, which I'm going to be showing you from my last visit to the store as well. So golden basmati seller is the trick. All this long grain rice, perfume rice they sell in Coles and Woolies, by all means avoid it. But if you have a hack on how you cook it and how that works out for you, please go for it. But for me, what I've just found out that my golden basmati seller gives me the perfect jollof rice, gives me the perfect white rice. If I'm cooking white rice with it, what I just do is to add butter to make it more fluffy, and if I'm cooking jollof rice, it comes out perfect. If I'm cooking fried rice, it comes out perfect as well. So that's about rice. The next item is beans. Someone also asked, oh, I'm looking for black brown beans. I've seen brown beans a couple of times. They're quite pricey for what is what, and I don't see the difference between the black eye beans, which is the white one. I don't see the difference, and I don't feel I'm going to be investing my money to buying brown beans. You might have a different opinion, but the black white hide beans, is that what they call the white one? It does the job. It works for me, and that's what I buy. But some of the African stores in Brisbane, at least I know the Avinotab at Inala, which I'm going to be referring to a lot in this video. From time to time, she has the black oloyin beans. I think that's what it's called. So if it's something you're after, please check out African stores. You will definitely find that there. So when I'm just going to every other thing, I'm just going to pack it as part of African store. So if you're talking about I think this is gari, egusi, pomo, ewedu, rodo, yeah, I need to split some of them. All of these things you can find in African store. At least in Brisbane, we find all of these things I've just listed in the African store. But bear in mind, some of them are pricey. So if you live interstate, or if you even live in Brisbane and you have found them cheaper, please do well to share. But that is where I buy most of these things from. And in Brisbane area that I know about, we have about 3 African stores that I visit regularly. We have Avinotab in Inala. She's a Nigerian woman who sells a lot of African products, variety. She has a lot of variety, and I frequent her store often a lot. So that's Avinotab. The other person, or the other store I visit often, is African Market. She is at Cooper's Plains. She's at Cooper's Plains. I'm going to be putting all of their address and contacts in the description box, but she's at Cooper's Plains and her things are quite okay as well. She's a Ghanaian woman and she's pretty nice. So that's another place I visit frequently. The last one I know about is Lapupetta. I'll put her description and details in the description box as well. I don't really know much about that store. That was the first African store I visited when I came to Australia, and I think our prices are okay and things are okay. So Lapupetta is also an option. So Lapupetta is at Moorooka. It's close to the city depending on where you're coming from. Inala is in South Brisbane, so Inala is there, and Cooper's Plains is also in South Brisbane, and there's Moorooka. So those are the main African stores in Brisbane. But if you're outside Brisbane, what I'll tell you to do is either ask people around in your community, be it church, be it anywhere you go to, or the other option you have is use Google. Just put it in African stores in Sydney, African stores in Melbourne, African stores in where else, in Tasmania. And alternatively, you can check out other Nigerian YouTubers that also put out videos like this. I know Niger Mom in Australia, she has put out a couple of times when she visited the African store in Melbourne. I know Azizat also put out a visit to African store in Sydney, which is New South Wales. So if this is anything that interests you, please check out their channel. I'll also put their channel description and video links to when they went to African store in those 2 states. So yeah, that's about food stuff, African Nigerian stuff in Brisbane. Okay, and I've just checked my book now, and I realized that there's other specific questions that people ask that is food related, which I'll be addressing. Someone asked about plantain. What is common here is they sell frozen plantain. I am not a fan of frozen plantain, but I'm at a stage where I'm actually trying it out. But what I'm doing is I'm actually freezing it myself. Yeah, so someone was actually getting a box of plantain and called me, Dammie, are you interested? And I'm like, yep, I'm interested. And I got a box for $75, and a box I think is 12 kg. So that's how I get plantain. The other place you can get plantain is most farmers markets. You know, all those people that lay out fruits and stuff in open spaces and sell veggies. Yes, that's where you can get plantain. At least in Inala you get plantain when you're coming, depending on the entry you're using into Inala. There's these guys that sell fruit market opposite the meat shop I'm going to be showing you when I talk about meat and protein. Yeah, they sell plantain. Most times they have plantain. So, and then the other place you can get fresh plantain in Brisbane is at African Market. The woman at African Market sells plantain from time to time, though they are pricey, and getting in bulk might be a good option. And yes, recently someone also mentioned that they sell box of plantain on Facebook Marketplace, so it's worthwhile checking that out. And then yam. Also, plantain is just like yam. Yam is a seasonal food for us in Australia. This year, funny enough, was the one year that we got yam a lot. Like different people were bringing in yam, so and people would always reach out, like, and that's why it was very important to have a community. People will always say, hey Dammie, we're sharing yam, are you interested? And that's how I got yam. Another way I got yam is, I think Angela went somewhere one day and said, oh Dammie, there's yam, do you want yam? And she got me yam. And I think maybe somebody just brought it to their church and sold in bulk, so that's another way. But the most common place I get yam is African store. The woman at African Market, again, she stocked up on yam a lot this year. I bought, like, we had yam a lot this year. In our 4 years, this is the year we actually had a lot of yam. So most African stores or Nigerian stores would have yam, so you can check them out in your state. My husband is not a fan of frozen yam, but yam is another thing that people freeze. So what I did was I bought in bulk and I was able to store them. Ninja Foodie posted an arc of how to store your yam for so long, and it has worked for me, and that's what I did. So my husband does not like frozen yam, so we don't eat it. That's just it. So hopefully this frozen plantain works. And finally is agege bread, or bread that tastes like Nigerian bread. Agege bread you get from African stores. At least in Brisbane, the woman at Inala, Avinotab, she sells agege bread to people. One bread that we love and that we've eaten the most in this house would definitely be a brooch bread. If you've been following me for a long time, you know this bread already. But yes, we eat the brooch bread and we get this from Aldi. But from time to time, this bread gets scarce because based on what we gather, this bread they bring it in from France, and sometimes there's just, you know, port delays and stuff like that. So alternative bread we eat during that waiting time for them to clear the bread and bring it back to the store is the bread from Woolies. So Woolies have this bread, which I'll put up here as well, that we'll buy and we eat it from time to time. That bread is perfect for toast, but this other brooch bread, when you make it into toast, doesn't come out like as good as the Woolies bread. So those are the two breads that we eat and that I know you can get anywhere you are, except you live in Glendon like my friend. Anyways, I'm saying Glendon because they don't have Aldi in Glendon, but if you find any Aldi, most Aldi will have this bread. Anyways, that's about bread. And then, oh yeah, before I get out of bread, also recently I saw someone post about Helga's bread, Helgas, Helga's bread from Coles or Woolies. I tried it, not a fan. My husband is not a fan. The kids did not even eat it, but this is also something you can try. It doesn't taste salty, because the challenge you have with some of this Australian bread is they are not sweet and then they are salty. It's just a miss for them. But this Helgas is not a miss or a eat, it's just there. So if it's something you also want to try, I will also put the name up and you can try it. So that's about bread. Now let's move into protein, meat, fish, and all of those good stuff. With meat, at least based on my experience, I don't buy from African stores. I would rather go to Inala and buy my meat in bulk. So, and I also know of people who share meat. I've not seen anyone who shared cow meat with me. Okay, I've seen once, and that was about 2 years ago. I shared cow with certain people, but that opportunity has not surfaced in recent time. And what I've heard is that it's very stressful because they have to go to the butcher themselves. It gets involved with killing the meat and doing all of those stuff. At least in Brisbane, that's what they said. So I've not had the opportunity in recent times. So what I did this year and last year was I just went to my normal butcher at Inala and I bought in bulk. I'm like saying buy 10 or 20 kg of meat, whatever fits my freezer and my family size. So that's how I get beef. Make sure you don't make the mistake of buying beef from Aldi, Woolies or Coles, because those meats are going to be soft and if it makes sense. So you can always buy your meat, and with this I'm saying beef shaki from those stores. So check your local butcher and buy good meat. And the actual meat I buy, I don't just buy, there are different meats cut into different things, and I don't know, maybe the processing is actually different for the different meat types, but the actual meat I buy that is close to what you have in Nigeria and without bone is the beef shin. So that is what we eat and that is what we buy often. And then we also get shaki. Also, they sell shaki in African stores, but buy your shaki from the butcher. Some of these butchers, they sell shaki, and it is called ox tripe. So once you ask for ox tripe, you're getting your shaki. Another thing is chicken gizzard. You can get chicken gizzard from Woolies. When you check the chicken section, you will see chicken gizzard. The challenge is chicken gizzard is not called gizzard here. It is called chicken giblets. Chicken giblets. So that is what it is called. Check for chicken giblets, or you can alternatively buy it from the butcher, which is cheaper. They also have chicken giblets. When you're buying some of these internal parts of meat, just make sure you also confirm that you are not buying the pork ones, because most times they have pork, either pork ox tripe, which is shaki, or beef ox tripe. Make sure you're buying the correct one. If you're also a fan of cow foot is something you get from African store. They sell it, but it's expensive. So if you want to get it cheaper, go to your butcher and buy from them. So that's about meat. And when we talk about fish, I don't eat fish, but my husband does, and the kids as well. But it's not something I buy often. And yeah, luckily Angela told me this, and I'm going to share with you guys. But where I buy my fish from when I want to buy fresh fish is at Inala. But this place is not somewhere you would know or see. But when you get into Inala, if you look for CBA at Inala, right, once you leave the meat market and you walk down all the way and you go to CBA, you see Kempro. Once you turn to the corner of that road, there's one road that is an exit as well, is a footpath exit. Once you go to that road, by your right hand, you will see a fish market. I go into that store and I buy meat or fish in bulk. Most times it lasts me a year. I went there once in 2023. I've gone there once for this year, and that's a wrap till next year, 2025. So that's where I buy my fish from. If you're a seafood lover as well, they have a ton of variety you can choose from. So the tip Angela gave me was, there's this fish I buy from African markets to roast. My husband loves grilled fish most Sunday afternoons. So that fish, she just told me, instead of me buying like $7, $8 per each, and that's what I bought a lot. She told me I can actually buy the box, and the box is $70 and you have 12 pieces. And she bought this from the woman at Inala. So if you're in Brisbane, that's a tip you should check out. But most of these things, the same tricks are applicable in Melbourne, Sydney, Tasmania, wherever you find yourself. So just ask around, especially if you're attention, just ask, hey, how do you get your meat in box? So that's one thing that I've worked. And then finally we'll talk about goat meat. Goat meat, a lot of times I've been able to get whole goats at different prices. I remember last year we bought a whole goat for $3.50 and I shared with someone. There was another time, I think me and Angela, we bought a whole goat for $3.60 or something, and we shared. But what has happened is, there's this person who is a farmer, the first one I bought, that gets the goat meat. I've reached out to him recently. He does not have again, but that's fine. You can also go to Inala and tell those guys you need a whole goat. They will tell you the price, and you can split with someone, or you buy the whole goat depending on the quantity you want. Recently someone else helped me get a whole goat. I'm not sure if this is a whole goat, but I got it for $181 for about 13 or 14 kg when I weighed it. For me, the price was reasonable. It was amazing. Even the stress of going every day to go and be getting stuff can be stressful. So I just bought a whole box for $181. That will last me almost the whole year because of my family size. So that works for me. So that's how I get goat meat. But alternatively, wherever you buy your beef, the butcher, just ask them. They have goat meat. What they usually have is roasted and non-roasted. So buy the roasted one. Sometimes they roast it very well and it tastes like the Nigerian one, and sometimes not. So whatever it is, you have to take it like that. But yeah, that's about goat meat. So now let's go into peppers. And when I say peppers, I mean capsicum, bell pepper, tatashe, and tomato. Rodo most times is from African, so sometimes you'll find rodo in all these local fruit shops, but oftentimes than not, I buy my rodo from African markets. I just buy it in bulk and it lasts maybe 6 months, and that works. And I think the average price they sell in Brisbane is usually $35 for the box. It's just a small box, but because they are very hot, it lasts a long time. So when we talk about tatashe, capsicum, bell pepper, tomato, and anything, all those other things, and I think I also use sweet chili, which is like your shombo in Nigeria. I usually will buy these items from the fruit market, in the open fruit market. I don't buy these things from the Woolies, Coles or Aldi, no, because they are expensive. I'd rather buy from the local fruit markets, and they usually have it in bags. So just sample around to know the fruit market that sells at a cheaper price, and when they are in season, they are quite cheap. There are times I buy a bag of capsicum, which some tatashe now, which is just like 4 or 5 pieces on the average, and I buy it 99 cents per bag. And there are times I will buy the same capsicum for $4.99. So you need to know when it's in season and out of season, and you stock up for, you know, the times ahead. So that's how I buy my capsicum. I'm not a big fan of tomato in Australia because they taste very sour, so I just try to sample around few times, buy that is cheaper. But that's how I do with my peppers. And with pepper as well, in the past I usually would buy a box, and I think I've even filmed about that before. I'll buy a box of capsicum because we're Nigerians, we make a lot of soup and all of this things, so we usually have a lot. But I've just realized that those people, like, buying in box was not it for me, maybe because of where I'm buying from. So if you try somewhere else and you find it cheaper, maybe give it a go. But I just like buying in bulk because I like having pepper mix in the freezer, so I just buy those $1 $2 ones, and then I think I get to the point of this is what it costs a box. But I just find it cheaper compared to buying the box, because at times I buy the box for $5 $35. But anyways, that's that with pepper and capsicum. And yeah, just to wrap up pepper and capsicum, don't, like, my pro tip is, if you're buying from Woolies, Aldi or Coles, it is expensive, don't do it. Buy from the fruit markets. Okay, and the next one we'll be covering is kids clothing. A lot of people ask this as well. With kids clothing, if it's just for regular plain at home outfits, you can always check Kmart. But let me just mention this disclaimer: if you're buying a cloth from Kmart for the kids, just best believe that they're going to be twinning with a lot of people. For instance, when we buy swimming trunks or tongs, whatever you call it, for the kids, when we go to the pool, especially when we go to like a very public pool, they are twinning with everyone. Almost 10 kids are wearing the same thing. So that's just one thing about Kmart. If you're buying kids clothing from Kmart is one place we'll frequently buy their clothes from. Another place is Shein. I get my kids clothes from Shein. If you're able to filter through Shein very well, they really have some nice quality clothes depending on what you are after. And then you can also check Best and Less. I think they sell unique pieces, but you're going to have to take your time to scan through their stores to actually get the best from Best and Less, right? And also with Best and Less, what I would say is, if you're in public schools, most times you are able to get your spare uniform from Best and Less. So that is another tip. If you're looking for extra uniform or sportswear and all of those things, check out Best and Less. They carry some of those things in good quality. Kmart also have some of the school uniforms or basics, like school basic tees and pants, if you're checking. So check Kmart and check Best and Less. Another place I get my kids clothing from, especially when we're talking about going out outfits, is H&M. H&M never fails, especially with boys clothing. It is very scarce to get clothes for two for me sometimes. So what I've just noticed is that I'm able to get good quality, nice, unique items from H&M from Tofumi. With Fire, not really big on H&M clothing for my daughter. Better off buying clothes from Shein for her, or yeah, I don't know, like Australia does not really have a lot of nice clothes. Even going to the UK recently, I confirmed what I've always thought about. I went into Primark and I was spoiled with options compared to shopping in the equivalent, which is Kmart in Australia. The difference is clear and is huge. Yeah, it is. I even went into M&S and I was spoiled with options as well. But anyway, that's a talk for another day. So those are the main stores. But another place you can check out is Big W, Target. So those stores, Holly's Place, I usually buy party outfits. Maybe they are having their birthday, or maybe they have a function. Holly's Place sells kids clothes, and I think up to Fury's age. With Tofumi, I've been having difficulty now that he's grown. He's almost 10, so now he's going 10 to 11. I hardly find things for Tofumi at Holly's Place, but with Fury I'm still able to. She's just 7. I'm still able to get stuff for her from Holly's Place. So check out Holly's Place, check out Target, check out Big W. There are a lot of other stores, but for basic items, Kmart, Best and Less, Target, all the stores are where you get your kids clothing from. And then Shein, of course. Yeah. Lunch boxes. Let's talk about lunchbox. I have a ton of lunchbox, but I created this item from different stores, and I'm going to be sharing. But the number one place to check for your lunch boxes would be Lunchbox Mini. I'm going to put our website link in the description box. So with Lunchbox Mini, she sells a variety of lunch boxes for kids and for adults as well. And what she does is from A to Z. So she's selling your lunch bags, she's selling the plate you need, she's selling the water bottle, the warmers, and everything lunchbox. Go to Lunchbox Mini. But what I would say is make sure you're comparing prices with places like Amazon. I also get my kids lunchbox from Amazon. Make sure you're checking out Coles and Woolies. So with Coles and Woolies, from time to time they store some of these bento lunch boxes, the B-box lunchbox. They store it, but it's not something you find there every other day. So make sure you check out Coles, make sure you check out Woolies before you buy from Lunchbox Mini. Another place where you can buy from is Kmart. Kmart has a variety of lunchbox, but best believe that they are not of the best quality, so you're better off buying good quality once and for all, and you call it, you know you have it, right? So make sure you're checking different stores before you finally make up your mind and buy any of this item. That's about Kmart. You can also check out Smiggles if you have a higher budget. They sell good quality items at Smiggles. You can also, and then finally check out Daiso as well. I'll be saying much more about Daiso later on in the video, but Daiso is a Japan store, I think so. So for me, is Daiso a Japan store?
Near Kmart?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that.
Is it a Japan? What store is? Yes, what country is that?
Japan.
So Daiso is a Japan store, and they stock a variety of items. So you can also check out Daiso in your area if they sell nice lunch boxes. And also, I think the Reject Shop is also a place you can find a few things at affordable price. So now let's go to the general items. There are a few items I've just tagged general because they're just random things that people sent. So the first item we have here is vegetable oil. So for me, I sampled a lot before finally coming to this conclusion. This is what has worked for me. If you have alternate opinions, please drop it in the comments because I also still want to learn. So I've realized that vegetable oil in Australia is not for me. It doesn't just taste good. I don't know, my personal opinion, but what I've seen that works is canola oil, sunflower oil, and olive oil. And all of this oil, I make sure I don't buy the name, I don't buy the own brands in Coles, Woolies, or Howdy. I usually would buy a different product. Like with their own brands, I just don't get what they put in it. I do not like it. I've sampled a few, so I either buy Crisco. They're different products, Crisco oil and all of those oils. So that's what has worked for me. And sometimes, depending on what I'm cooking, I love to mix the two oils together. Maybe mix a bit of sunflower and a bit of canola oil, or a bit of canola and olive oil. So with oil, that is what has worked for me. I forgot to mention palm oil when I was talking about African store. So most times you get your palm oil from African store, right? But recently, someone, if you live in Brisbane area and you're interested, I have someone who sells palm oil, and she sells the 20 liters for I think $210 or $250. I'm not sure at this point. So reach out if you're interested. We, like last year for instance, in 2023 January, what we did is myself and Angela, we bought a 20-liter cake and we shared it. For me, for my family size of 4 and our palm oil consumption, that lasted us a whole year. Bearing in mind my parents were here for 3 months in 2023 as well, so it lasted me a whole year. And this palm oil is very, very good. I can guarantee you're getting a good palm oil. It's palm oil from Sierra Leone, I think, but if you're in Brisbane and you're interested, I can give you a contact and you reach out and get it from her directly. When I used to buy palm oil from the African store, I've usually bought the Carotino products, which is similar to this palm oil this lady sells to us, which I think is very good. So that's that about palm oil. And then now let's talk about the kids snacks. Where do you get kids snacks from? And when I'm saying kids snacks now, it's just biscuits, coffee, like everything snack pantry items. See, there's the video everywhere. Today somebody's saying how this is better, somebody's saying Coles is better, somebody's saying Woolies is better. I've just come to a conclusion that I sampled the three stores and know what to get from them. So there are items I get from Howdy, there are items I get from Coles, and there are items I get from Woolies. So if I just want to give you a summary of how I shop, is most cleaning products I buy from Woolies. Air fresheners I buy from Woolies because most times it is on sales on at Woolies. Turkey I buy from Woolies, so because they are the only one who sell the turkey wings. I'm yet to find an alternative place to buy turkey. as I'm talking about turkey, I just remember chicken as well. So if you're after chicken, you find it in the butcher. Be careful you're not buying the soft chicken. When you want to ask for chicken, at least that is what I know. When you want to ask for add Nigerian chicken, you know, add chicken that we eat, I usually say I need chicken N. And when I buy the chicken, and sometimes they'll bring, you know, whole for me, and they will cut it if you want, but I'll tell them no, I want the Maryland of chicken N, and that is what I buy. I recently bought a box of chicken N, which is the hard Nigerian chicken, for $30, and it was just laps, like 10 kg of laps for $30. It is really cheap. I don't know, maybe they don't see people to buy it. Sometimes they sell for $40, but the last one I got from Inala was $30 for a box of 10 kg. For me, I feel like that is a steal. That's like $3 per kg. Like, you won't find it here. It's even cheaper than the soft chicken you usually buy. And if you're after soft chicken as well, please feel free to check the butcher, and it's everywhere. The soft chicken is everywhere. It's cheap. Yeah, just check it out. But anyway, back to Woolies, Coles and Aldi. So I buy turkey wings from Woolies. So those are the main items I buy from Woolies, and bread when we cannot find at Aldi. So with bread, in this household, we eat different types of bread. So we have croissants, we eat croissants, I get it from Aldi. We have the normal brioche bread, which I am a big fan of, a huge fan of. We get that from Aldi as well, which is the brioche bread. And even brioche bread, you find some at Woolies and Coles. They don't taste as good and they are more expensive. Imagine buying brioche bread for $9 and doesn't taste good. That's a whole lot. That's a waste of money. So anyways, we buy the brioche bread from Aldi, and then we buy the hot dog bread. We buy the burger bun as well from Aldi. I think those are the main breads we eat as a household, and we buy from Aldi. The other thing I buy from Aldi is spaghetti. Like most house staples I get from Aldi. With Coles as well, I have what I buy at Coles. Most snacks for the kids I buy at Coles, and what I've realized is I get the same price with snacks at Coles and at Aldi. If the way they run their promo is by product. So if there's something is on sale at Coles, best believe is on sales at Aldi, depending on the time of the year. So that's what I've discovered with those stores. Just know what you're buying from each of the stores and you will be good. Somebody also asked for hair cream. Hair cream I buy from African store mostly. I don't think I've found it somewhere else. Most times it's just African stores I buy my hair cream or hair products from. Home decor, oh god, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but getting home decor in Australia is not for the weak. Recently I've seen a lot of people like posting a lot of pages that I did not know about, so I'm not there yet with this one. But what I've realized, places I have gone to get home decor items recently would be one, Maya. I get home decor items from Maya. I get home decor items from Temple and Webster. Is that what it's called? Temple and Webster. Pillow Talk. Initially I thought they only sell like bed sheet and blanket, but I went in recently to their physical store and realized that they also sell home decor items at Pillow Talk. Another place you can check is Quality Rugs and Furniture. I recently found out this website and I'm in awe. Like, when I was setting up my house, I did not know about this site, but they have really nice things at affordable price. Shout out to MK Interiors. That is where I found out about quality home furniture and rugs, and they really have nice items. And the other place you can find home decor, depending on the type of piece you're looking for, is AliExpress. With AliExpress, you need to filter through very well before you buy something, because there's a lot of inferior items and you don't want your house looking inferior, that you can get at AliExpress. And then you can also check out Amazon. Amazon have nice pieces depending on what you're looking for as well. And then finally you can check out Shein. Shein is, Shein has few items you can also check out. Shein and AliExpress, I feel like the same strategy is applicable. Make sure you filter out through and through, read reviews before you buy items. Even Amazon, the same is applicable. Make sure you read reviews and you're buying quality products for your money's worth. So finally, to the discounted store and the main tea of this video. Aldi is a good discounted store. As hard as it might be hard to believe, their special buys are things you should be tracking if you're actually in need of items. They can be tempting to buy things when you don't need them, but the price difference is usually huge. And sometimes you would think that they are bringing just unknown brands, but no, they stock up good brands as well. Like I've seen Tefal pressure pot there, I've seen LG products at Aldi special buys. Like there are a range of products that they bring to Aldi that are high quality as well. Make sure you always check out Aldi special buys. Like, is the real truth. Another place to check out is Reject Store. There are a few Reject stores around me, and their things are quite cheap and affordable, but make sure you're checking expiry, especially if you're buying edible products from Reject Store. Check the expiry date, and I think their things are quite affordable as well. Another store to check out is Daiso. I mentioned Daiso earlier. It's a Japan store. At least here in Brisbane, I know of one or two around, and their things are quite affordable. Like even if you want to buy plates or kitchen items, maybe take a trip to Daiso. Before this whole cost of living crisis, Daiso used to say nothing above $2.80, but now I think they're almost in the $4 range, and I don't think they still say, oh, there's everything up under $2.80 or whatever price. They sell all sort of things now, that they even have things of $15 in Daiso. But before now, it was a very discounted store. So always, like, Daiso is also a store you should check out. I've talked about Daiso, I've talked about Reject Store, I've talked about Aldi. Another store is Silly Solis. I recently discovered Silly Solis, and I think it's a very good store to check. But before you buy anything from Silly Solis, especially when it is edible, check the expiry date. What I've realized in my recent experience with Silly Solis is their edible products are close to expiry or even expired already. So though they say that you're still able to eat expired products after 6 months, but then again, do you want to risk it for the money's worth? I don't know. Like, it just depends on your personal preference. But Silly Solis is a very good place. Like, even for cleaning products, different things. Like, it's a store that sells different things, especially if you want to organize your kitchen or you want to do your pantry. Like, some of those things, they're just a lot. Or you want to buy a gift, you want to wrap gifts. Silly Solis has a wide range of items, and I know of two in the Brisbane. I want to believe that Silly Solis is not just a Brisbane store, and you have it in other states as well. So another store to mention is Golden Circle, but I think with Golden Circle is very similar to Costco. You need to register before you're able to purchase items from them. From memory, I've been there once, and I know that the person I went with had membership for us to be able to buy things from Golden Circle. So that's everything for me today. Make sure you continue the conversation in the comment section. If there's anything you feel like would help anyone, please continue to share, and we'll continue the conversation in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for watching. But please, if you really enjoyed this video and you found it helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and if you're yet to subscribe, now is a good time to do so. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye.